Hello, and welcome to Mr. Brasser's Classroom. I'm Dave Brasser. I currently teach Algebra 2, Honors Algebra 2, and Trigonometry and Precalculus. This is my 11th school year here at West Michigan Aviation Academy, so I've been here since day one, so I've been here for a good amount of time. I just recently got married. I got married this past July to my lovely wife. Some of you may know her if you have some students that have been here in the past. She was the teacher. Her name was Miss O'Brien. Now her name is Mrs. Brasser. But we got married this past July, and we've been enjoying this honeymoon phase for the past 2-ish months or so, even though didn't get to have like an official honeymoon this year with everything going on. But yeah, this is my 11th year here. I used to teach physics as well. I graduated from Calvin College, now Calvin University, back in 2010, so I've been here for a good amount of time since then. But yeah, let's take a look at some specifics for your class. As you may know, WAM is using Canvas this year, and Trigonometry and Precalculus is no exception. So here's what Trig Precalc looks like when you open up the Canvas page. So the first thing, it's not super interesting yet. I'm hoping some students can help me make this a little more pretty, but it's got the necessary information. So we've got a welcome here. Here's my email address if you need it. And then here's a link to PowerSchool that you can always use. There's a link to modules, but I'm always going to encourage students to use the modules over here. And then the syllabus as well. Again, syllabus is over here. Down here is the week in preview. So you can see last week's week in preview and also what we're doing for this week. Now with Trig Precalc, things are a little bit tricky because I have one class that's second hour, or I guess second block, which is on A days, and then fourth hour, which is every day. So the scheduling for this one can be a little tricky. But for example, let me talk about what we're doing this week. So on Tuesday, so that'd be yesterday if you're watching this on Wednesday. On Tuesday, we've got two things we're going to try to accomplish. Actually, for that one, it's the same section. We're going to talk about section 1.2 on both Tuesday and on Wednesday. Now, that's for fourth hour, my apologies. For fourth hour, we'll talk about 1.2 on Tuesday and on Wednesday. For second hour and all the virtual students, they're going to be getting through both of these parts, all of 1.2 on that day. Now, you also notice due on Tuesday is the what did you hope to achieve? We had students do some goal setting things on Canvas and type things out. Also, you'll notice due for the next Thursday for both classes is the 1.2 homework. So then once we get to class on Thursday, both classes will be turning in the 1.2 homework. And then on Thursday, we'll start with the 1.3 linear equations in two variables. And then for the second hour class, they'll also do the 1.4 functions. Now for the fourth hour, they'll do 1.3 on Thursday and 1.4 on Friday. Let me repeat that. For the second hour, they will do both 1.3 and 1.4 on this Thursday. For fourth hour, they'll do 1.3 on Thursday and 1.4 on Friday. The due dates are all going to be the same. Thankfully, they'll all end up lining up perfectly. But let's take a look at exactly what they're going to be doing in these classes. So if you go to modules, you'll see we've got some week one stuff that we did a little bit last week with one optional thing. So in week one, I had them design their own locker where they shared, or they made a virtual locker and shared it with everybody. And then this is the goal setting assignment I was talking about. But I want to focus on what they're going to be doing for notes. So for notes, let's take a look at what we did last week. So here's just kind of a lesson plan for us. So we've got in this lesson, here are two goals. We're talking about the coordinates, Pythagorean theorem, etc. Students can download the notes here by clicking on the blank notes, and it'll pop up here. Couple different options that students have to take notes. One suggestion I've been pushing for is to have them open it in this app called Kami. And on Kami, once it opens up, and students will have this available on their Chromebooks as well, they can actually annotate on that PDF. Now it's going to look a little different for me since I'm using a mouse instead of a Chromebook touchscreen like the students have, but you can see, you can draw all over here. I'm going to erase this so that it doesn't show up on the student end. But they can do this all digitally. And we're going to try to do this as digital as possible, both to save on resources, but also just in case we all have to go virtual at some point, we'll be ready to go. So they can take their notes virtually there. Let me close that back up. I also do have a filled-in copy of the notes that students can access here. And it's got all my pre-filled in notes. I've gone through these notes plenty of times. And if students ever catch a mistake, please have them inform me and I'll update that. One other thing, you'll see there's a video here. There's me. And students can watch the video later if they want to hear just kind of a refresher instead of just reading, or if for some reason they have to be out of the building for a day. So they can click on this. It'll go through the 1.1 video. So you got me even talking down here in our guest bedroom. So we've got the videos here. It's going to walk through 15 minutes or so. And the nice thing about this is if students, or if I'm going too fast for students, they can click on this gear icon and change the playback speed. So if they want to slow me down a little bit, they can go to 0.75. Or if I'm talking too slow for them, they can speed me up to whatever. So that's what they're going to be looking at for notes if they are absent for any reason. Otherwise, we're going to be doing notes in person, talking about more or less what we're seeing in the videos. Let me go back to the modules as well, or back to the modules again. You also see our first homework assignment. So we've got the 1.2 notes, again, same pattern. The blank notes and filled in notes are the same lengths as before. This one's a little bit longer of a lesson, so I've got 3 videos here that students can break it down into. But going back to the modules, our first assignment is going to be the 1.2 assignment. So they're going to click on that. That'll be due on that Thursday. And you'll see here, it says, please complete the following problems and submit your completed work here. And they can hit the submit button. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. It looks a little different from my end because I'm like a quote unquote fake student. But anyways, what I'm asking them to do is I'm actually using a textbook page. So I'm going to be using this page here, page 116, and I'm going to have them do the problems 13, 15, 23, 25, 27, and 29. So they can do that in whatever they'd like. They can use Kami on a blank PDF, or they can do it on paper and take an image or take a picture of it. Regardless of how they do it, what I'd like them to do to submit it is click on Submit Assignment, and there's a bunch of different options. They can upload a file from their Chromebook or computer, or they can link it. If they're using Kami, they can link it that way. Or probably the preferable way is either this Google Drive or this Google Drive. Now again, it's calling me masquerading because you'll see down here I'm pretending to be a student. So I can't see everything here, but students will be able to pull up their Google Drive files here or here. They're two just different, slightly different ways. Both ways are fine. But they can pull up their Google Drive here or here, and then they can upload any files that they've uploaded to Google Classroom. Let me go back to modules. I'm not going to submit that, so let's leave that page. And you'll see we've got the rest of the sections for the rest of this week as well, including the assignment that'll be due next week. So that's the biggest thing about this. Let me go back, and I can't show you this from the student end. Well, actually, let me show you what the grades look like from the student end. For the student end, the grades show up here. Now, this student is the pretend student, so they have no grades entered. But hopefully by now your students already turned in the Design Your Locker, and hopefully if they've turned in the What Do You Hope to Achieve, that I don't know if I'll have graded by Wednesday when you see this, but I'm hoping to have that graded. These next 2 assignments, we'll talk about homework checks in class later. They're going to just submit individual problems from their assignment. I'll have the students look at that later. But this is where they can check out their individual scores. In general, they still should be using PowerSchool as their main source of checking their grades, but this is a good way to just kind of keep track of things. In fact, if they're like, oh, 1.2 assignment, I didn't do that, I can click on that, and here's where it looks. Oh, I didn't submit it. Maybe I should submit something. Now I'm going to leave the student view. I want to show you something on the teacher end. I want to show you the assignments. You'll see I've got more in here than I'm currently showing. Now, in general, we're going to have homework. We're going to have quizzes, projects, and tests. The semester exam, we'll worry about that at the end of the semester. Homework is worth 10% of the grade. That's not showing up here yet. We just had this started to sync with PowerSchool, so there's some things that are not quite fully synced yet, but we'll get there. So homework is going to be 10% of the overall grade. Quizzes are 15%, projects are 15%, and then the test is 60% of the overall grade. These assignments will start filling in once we get closer and closer to those. But yeah, that's what we're looking at. So that's a brief overview of our class. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at dbrasser@westmichigan.aviation.org. I'm typically on there until at least 3:30 every day, usually a little bit after that. But you can also feel free to email me over the weekends. I might not have a chance to get to it until Monday morning. Thank you and have a great day.